This your boy HD. Everybody get up on the dance floor and go, and go, and go crazy. And go crazy. And go crazy. And go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the old to LA. Go crazy like a dum-dum. Eastside homeboy, where I come from. Dance on the floor till you go numb. No fighting, no hating, no red rum. This is O City. All the way to the bay, hit the bass, feel me. Catch a case, cause it's beating up your Chevy. Got you moving side to side, getting all sweaty. Make it work it, work it, work it out. Turn the volume up loud. This a draw crowd, make it all shout. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Hit play on the track and I'm ready. Like a quarterback, Tom Brady. Got you all in the frenzy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to LA. They love us. We heard the buzz and turned the club up. They tear the rugs up soon as we turn the subs up. Everybody's hands high like a drug bust. Yeah, I'm from the West, homie. Don't you see the dubs up? Baptize him on the spot, fill the tubs up. I fraternize with the flocks, tell them fill the cups up. The show though, original, the type is proto. I go, crazy, crazy, yeah, loco. It's solo, the coach and notes, I represent the Ocho. Immerse from together, put the devil in the choco. Either I leave him on the mat flat out, squeeze until he black out, or when they see him tap out, they go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to L. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. Go, 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 go crazy. All the way from the O to L.
What's going on, fam? What is going on? It is 8:04 and it is time for another scoop show. Y'all, today has been the Mondayest Tuesday after a holiday. Like, this is not what it's supposed to be like. Okay, I'm just gonna start with that and then we're back. Okay, so it is 8:04 and it is time for another scoop show. So glad that you have decided to slide on in here and hang out with us for a few minutes after this long holiday. I hope you had some time to get it in with your friends, your fam, your co-workers. Hope you made some friends, made some new family, all that good stuff over this past weekend. Got some good food in your tummy. If you sip, I hope you sipped on a little something and had a good time. Because it is definitely back on the grind on this day. Okay. Tuesday, the labor was ready for us to come back to it on today. And so you were off and now you're on. So yeah, if you had a day like me, maybe like we, then we invite you to come on in, get your relaxation on, and have some good conversation with us tonight, because we have got some really great topics, and we are ready to get it in. The comments have been popping all weekend. Okay, just because I logged off does not mean my notifications took holiday. Okay, so I know that there are thoughts on tonight's topics because I was scrolling through and saw and caught some of them over the weekend. So I know it's going to be a good one. So while you are coming on in here and getting comfortable, getting plugged up and getting your feet up and all that good stuff, I would like for you to please, while you're down there, hitting in the comment section, if you would, please drop your city and state where you're repping on this fine Tuesday evening. If you drop that for us, please. We like to know just how far and wide this here show reaches from week to week. We are kind of we're data bums like that, so we do look at that, and it's important to us. So we do appreciate it when you do that. And while you're in that area, if you would also please hit that good old share button down there and let your people know. Okay, we want your mama them, your aunties them, all them folks you just hung out with, and y'all just exchanged information. You know what I mean? You want to put your people on to what you like to be on. Go ahead and let them know that it is the scoop. Okay, we want them to come on in this room and join the conversation with us. All right, so drop your city state, hit that share button, and then get comfortable and get ready to see where you can follow us if you happen to have to pop up. If somebody disturbs your peace on this evening, because it happens, if you still got duties, if you have not quite logged off for the night, I understand. Okay, we understand. It's still a little early some places across the states, so we get it. So if you want to catch that good replay, we are out here in these social media streets. We are locked and loaded on all of your favorite social media and podcasting sites, okay? Which include, we are out here on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all of the places. Wynn's going to give you a good graphic that you can screenshot and come back to here in a little bit after we log off for the night and you're wanting to tap back in with us. But in case you're listening on our SoundCloud option, you can follow us on YouTube at The Scoop Show. You can follow us on Facebook at Real Scoop Show, on Instagram at Scoop Radio Show, and you can check us out on SoundCloud by searching at Scoop Show. I believe it's at Scoop Show. I'm gonna pop that up here in just a second. We're looking at a blank screen. I don't know if you know that or not. But the image come. It's being irky today. Technology is teching.
Can you see it now?
Nope.
Can you see it now?
No. Adding that to the agenda so we don't I don't have to wing that again next time. All right. Anywho, good people. So yes, that is how you can tap in with us on our social media sites if you have to pop off during tonight's show. Yes, that is that. Yeah. I don't know what's going on with the graphic. That's okay though. We're gonna. Oh, and my mom says she has no share button today. See, Zuck, I'm gonna need you to get it together, okay? Because somehow your integrations aren't integrated and your buttons aren't buttoning, and I'm gonna need him to get it together. I don't like it. Anywho, because I'm getting feedback that folks don't have their buttons like they should, and we don't have our images like we should. Today's teching. Okay, so aside from that, this great agenda that we talk about on at the top of every show and throughout is brought to you by you. Okay, we have a wonderful little hashtag that we love to use around here, and it's a graphic that we use that we have lovingly referred to as straight out of the inbox. Okay, if you're familiar with the straight out of Compton feel, it looks like that. When you see that on our pages along with topics and things like that, that is something that has been generated. That is user generated content at its finest, y'all, because someone has snagged this from their timeline, their feed, one of them random groups that we love so much, and all of those threads, and they have slid into our DMs with that link or that image and say, hey y'all, let's see what the people talking about. What are your thoughts on this? And that's how those thoughts become our thoughts, and then this here show that we take to the people. So whenever you see straight out of the inbox on either of our pages, be sure to tap in and share your thoughts on that their topic. And no,
could you see that? Can you see that graphic?
No, big green square.
Really?
I just decided to go on and finish what I was saying and let you know afterwards.
Okay, so it's tripping.
Yeah, we yeah.
Can you see this one? No. Okay. All right. So we can probably plan on you not seeing any graphics tonight. Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna have to.
Got it.
Okay. It's all right.
What's up,
Stranger
Dre?
things have happened.
What's up, Dre?
Hey, Dre. Good to see you, bro. In real time. We always get that replay action, but I'm here for the real time conversation. Good job. So yes, and Patreon. Gonna let y'all know real quick about Patreon. I'm not gonna go into my normal detail because I need the Patreon graphic to do that. That's a green screen for me, sir. So you guys need to know that we're out here on Patreon. We love you all the way that you all love us, and you have been with us from the way back when times up until our current times, where it is time for us to stretch, for us to grow. And we are now when. Please take that down. Ain't no picture up on the screen.
For the people. It's not for you. That's for the people.
They can't see it either.
They can't see it either?
No.
Oh my God.
Goodness. No, I don't think it's showing up for them either. But yes, Patreon. We are out here on Patreon with 3 different opportunities for you to join in and support us. They are starting at $5, $10, and $25. That is a half scoop, a full scoop, and a double scoop of the scoop. And you get backstage access to us. You're going to get live interviews, a integrated chat for just you all and us to engage. We've got access to private shows and events that are upcoming, and discounted tickets and discount on swag and all kinds of great stuff. So if they're 10 bullet points, I got 7 of them jokers off the dome. So
you did.
No, but yes, tap in with us on Search the Scoop on Patreon and support. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my page to see if it's we tripping tonight. Okay.
KG, so glad that you are back with us, bro. I did see that earlier at the top of the show. Your comments don't show on my feed for whatever reason, so I can't respond directly to you, but we are so glad that you are back and on the mend, good sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Get us.
All right.
How you, bro?
I'm good. Now that I'm sitting there trying to figure out what's going on with this screen. So, but I'm good. Been a very interesting day. I'll say that, but I love my job.
Okay. Yeah. You asked for this. You prayed for this. You worked for this.
I absolutely love what I do. But today is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How you?
Listen, you see how I had to pause at the beginning to let the people listen. Today has been a damn day. Like,
yeah.
Period. From the top to the bottom. It did not give the day that it was supposed to give for after a holiday. I expected folks to still be at home, some meetings to be canceled, just one more day. Like, that's how I felt like folks logged on yesterday and prepared for today. Like, they used yesterday to just spread out today and just fully and thoroughly prepare for today. And I didn't get the memo that it was a holiday. Like it was. So yeah, it's been a lot day. Car in the shop, and y'all know how that goes. And but the car was fine. This was me being a good car owner. Got a nice newer vehicle, I'm trying to take care of it, be ahead of the game, proactive.
Nothing wrong with it.
It's stuff wrong with it, not what none of the stuff that needs to be taken care of today. Listen, I almost went there. Even with the pause, I still almost went there. But the mechanic, he understood his assignment. He did what he was supposed to. He did what mechanics do, and sent that stupid quote. And I brought my car back home. It's fine though. The truck is fine. It's just you can't tell a person who tries to be proactive and send them a list of things that could possibly need. Now, if anything, I got to get second opinions to see, is this really what needs to be done? I created more work for myself today. Just,
I absolutely understand.
I'm ready to go to bed.
It's all good. All right.
Yeah,
You ready?
I am. Yes.
Ready.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go. Let's go and jump into you. So, okay. Well, let me see if these are green screens. People can actually see these. Okay. So you can't see that. Can
I
you see
can
that?
see that. Yep.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Putting our children out at 18 with no money or plan is a generational curse. What kind of plans should be in place before we send our kids out into the world?
This topic is always interesting to me, but I do agree that in many ways this is just not helpful. I do not agree with rushing children out at 18. As soon as they cross the stage, as soon as they enroll in their first set of classes, for college, hit 18, whatever those thresholds are. Traditionally, I'm not for it. That's not my philosophy. Um, and specifically for those reasons. No money, no plan. Where are they gonna go? What are we doing? So the money and what kinds of plans should be in place before we send our kids out into the world? I think our children should have a sound understanding of money management. They don't have to be financial advisors. They should be able to balance a checkbook, or people don't really keep checkbooks anymore. They should be able to keep up with
their
money, an account of their money. Don't have money sprinkled all over these different places and be all haphazard and willy-nilly, just randomness. They need to be smart and wise with what they attach their money and their digital dollars to, especially at this point. I think these kids especially need to know about digital dollars and how they can get got. Which means we have to know about digital dollars and how not to get got. That's new technology, but that's also that's a new level of responsibility for kids overall, managing larger amounts of money and doing it digitally with all of the things that they haven't been able to access before. So I think that's something that we specifically need to be addressing. Helping, they need to be able to clearly identify what a want versus a necessity is, and be able to clearly have a boundary set with peer pressure to be able to choose those things, to be able to know when to focus. They need to be able to hold a job. Can you make your own money? Get out of my pocket. When you get out of my house, you should be in transitioning to be out of my pocket. I don't. I'm good with feeding you. I'm good for helping you out with a little. I'm good even with gas money every now and again. If you got your rent covered, your bills covered, you got your main things taken care of, I can hit you with $20 via Cash App. That's not, Mom, I'm 200 short on my rent. You don't have rent. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? I have not done something if those priorities aren't in alignment. I think overall it's just giving your children the tools to be able to at least have one foot soundly and squarely in the door of figuring it out. If you haven't had these conversations, if you haven't given your kids the opportunity to walk through what this may look like, if you haven't let your 16, 17, 18-year-old in on a couple bill conversations, if you haven't always sent them out the room when grown folks talking when it comes to those kinds of things, and had a mature, age-appropriate conversation with your almost adult child, then they need to chill out for a minute. And now's the time to do that. Adrian's 19. He moved out of the house, and I was, but this is also the caveat to that. You don't, after they get that age, you can't make them stay home.
Correct.
Either.
Correct.
That's so you don't have a whole lot of time to make this whole age appropriateness thing, because a lot of them have set that goal for themselves, that after a certain age, I'm out of here. I'm going to do this, that, and the third. So if anything, if you do have those types of, if that type of child, okay, I'm going to figure it out. I got this. I'm going to figure it out. At least make sure that you have a sound highway of communication with your kids. They've got to know that they can talk to you, they can communicate with you. When they get out there, you, even if you don't necessarily agree with it, they have to know that they can still come back to you for assistance, because they don't know it all. Like, you don't know. You're going to need me. And when you do, don't wait till the last damn minute to call me for some help. That's when we're gonna have a problem. That was the agreement. I said, okay, fine. You done put your name on a dotted line, son. You gonna go and do your man thing, beat your chest, fine. That's fine. I ain't made you go nowhere. Understand that. I said, but now that you out there, if you have some problems, don't call me when you have no options, because that means I have no options. But when you realize you are in this situation and it ain't looking good for your boy, I'm gonna need you to get on your phone with your girl and holler at me so we can figure something out, whatever it may be, whether it's money, some business, whatever it is. But you have to clue me in so that I can help you in enough time so you still have options. More than anything, options is what it helps you navigate this thing. When you put yourself up against the wall where you don't have any options, oh well, I mean, hey, bro, that's a hard knock life. Like, you just got to figure that thing out.
Absolutely. I think that, so I agree. I think that it's a lot of it is exposure. Exposure is the other. You talk about options, but I think that there's also the idea of exposure. So not just from a financial standpoint, but from, I mean, you gotta. I think there's the basics. There's the basics of exposing them to, as best as possible, what a life of fully taking care of yourself looks like, and then a life of, if you choose to invite somebody else into this life as a husband or wife, whatever, then what that then entails as well. So that way you're making, you at least have have thought through it, even if you're very what's the word I want to say? You still living in dreamland a little bit about how it's going to be, but at least like, this is going to change. I was told this is going to change. My life changes when I have kids. My life changes when I have a spouse. So those conversations, again, like I said, foundational things. Can you wash your own clothes? Can you cut grass? Can you cook for yourself? Like, I think all those foundational things need to be in place. I think part of the no money issue is, culturally, none of us have.
We don't have none. Yeah, we don't have none.
So if we're leaving money, I think it is, a lot of that is, if you don't have the money to give, then it has to be the knowledge to get it, and to at least, and this is where I think the plan part of this statement comes in, at least be able to say, to have the discussion, what kind of lifestyle do you want? And understand that whatever career field you choose comes with the lifestyle. And if your career choice does not match the lifestyle choice then that you desire, then we need to figure something out. And so you can't live in like you an NBA basketball player, and you are working, no disrespect to either one, but you're working at McDonald's. Like, those are two different lifestyles.
Yeah.
And so if you want the NBA lifestyle, you gotta get to the NBA, make that kind of, do something, pick a career that's going to get you to that kind of money. So I think it's coming to those thought processes as you're planning, and so you can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, with the exception of this, I agree with you saying, and add that to that. I also want to say, I think that the biggest part that we have to realize is what you said, and that is, we don't really control when they choose to leave, but what we do control is what we do in the years up until they decide to leave. And so what we should do is expose them to, as much as possible as we can, in our home, in other homes, show them what possibilities and potential look like if certain decisions are made, and then be honest with them about some of the mistakes that we have made.
Yes.
So, hey, I wanted to do XYZ, but I made some decisions with my credit that did this. I made some decisions with my not going to stay in school that did that. Like, like being honest, like, and not for the point of saying this is what you have to do, but saying you need to think through when you make said decision.
This is the possibility.
This
Yep.
is the possible effect that it can have if your ultimate goal is to get to where, that place. Um, and then also, one of the things I'm learning is not to put my plan on them.
Yeah.
I think that's also another, I ain't gonna say generational curse, but I think that's one of the difficulties of being a parent is we see the mistakes we made and we think take our shoulda, woulda, couldas and put it on them, and now they're stuck trying to figure out how to tell us that they don't like half the stuff that we trying to make them do.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying, hey, listen, I want you to really lean into what you like and what you're good at, and let's work from there. So yeah.
Oh wait. Our show is not live right now.
Huh?
It says the scoop was live, and my mom just texted me saying what happened. She said the show ended. The live show ended.
It's still live on my page.
It says live here, but when I look at the link that I shared, it still shows like us when we were on. It was only on for 7 minutes.
Yeah, the one on my page is live. Yeah, Coco just said it's live.
Okay, sorry y'all. I'm watching something that's not then. Within the scoop.
The one that you share on the scoop page is not. That's the problem.
Okay.
Yeah, the one on the scoop page is something wrong.
That is so strange. Sorry, y'all. I did not mean to detour the conversation like that. I was not.
Is YouTube good? Let's see. Let me see what. All right. Yeah, we're live on YouTube as well.
Okay. Well,
I think it's just the one on the scoop page that's the problem right now.
Okay.
I wonder why.
This night just keeps getting more and more interesting.
Yeah, that one does say that we were live.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to share this link and I'll be right back then to that page.
Let's see. Coco says our grade team has been incorporating money investment with our lesson plans and classroom. That's good. That is
very good.
Yeah. And I think it's something we know. I think, again, I just think a lot of times that idea of get out at 18 really stems from we ain't got no money.
Right.
So we need help. So let me hurry up and let you out of here. So it's one less person I got to feed. And I think we do need to, be more aware of where our child is as opposed to what we want to, that we want to get rid of another mouth that we got to feed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And the goal for me, and I know for a lot of us, is to not necessarily make it so that our children don't know what it's like to work and have good work ethic. Right. But the idea that they too must struggle in the same ways that we did is madness. Yes. I do not subscribe to that. Yeah. I did it so you can do it. I did it. I lived. I'm all right. Okay. But
I think that what you said is that makes sense. I get it. But I always tell people, like, life is struggle enough. They're going to struggle. Yes. So you do want to put your child, but which is weird because like up until that time, we're doing everything we can to make sure they don't hurt and don't feel pain. And now all of a sudden we are. But it's like life is going to do that on its own. We don't have to do that, and we can develop the skills. I think a lot of it is like I want them to be able to critically think and see if they can have the tenacity to work out. But like, if they don't have it, you'll know.
Right. But then like having an equipped child is much better than a child that is reactive. Like equip your child. You know what I mean? The whole figure it out, roll with the like that whole thing. If you haven't done the job to equip the child,
Right.
if you've equipped the child, then it's not really struggle. The whole point should be struggle avoidance, not an obstacle course for the first 5 to 6 years of your adult life, in addition to lifing. You know what I mean? Like equip the kids so it doesn't feel like an obstacle course, in addition to what's already happening. Yes.
Yeah, it's enough. It's as I said, life is going to do that by itself. We don't need to.
It does not need my help.
Yeah. We don't need to add anything to it.
No.
So I agree. You start out with $500 fines for not talking or getting paid for good behavior and how much you have left at the end of the month. Agree your brain is not growing until 25 or 27. Put them at 18 makes no sense.
Yep.
Other cultures refuse to let their children go. Yeah, I think we just have to reevaluate that. And I think, like, I know for me, my dad was like, you got 18 and you got to go. And he said that. And then I left and went to college. And then as soon as, like, after college, I'm like, hey, I need to move in with you for a year. And he's like, all right, come on. So I had to pay rent, but it was still like, yeah, come on, you got a job, you good, just do what you need to do. So I think
I wasn't forced out at 18. I was ready to go. I could not wait to get out of the house. I was on the first thing smoking out of there. I was ready to be grown. I was crazy as hell. If I could go back, I would not be so crazy. I would not be in such a rush to get out. But yeah, that wasn't the mood of the house though, that you had to.
Yeah. You went to college, did he really let you go? Absolutely. That man let me go. Left me at Langston. That man left me at Langston. With $40. He absolutely let me go.
You didn't hesitate at all. Absolutely. Yes, he let
me go.
Yes,
Bye. I didn't get a thing unpacked before that Negro was on the road back to Illinois. Like, I see you later. Absolutely. He let that joint go. Unpacked that van and was like, I'll see you later, homie.
That's hilarious.
All right, let's keep going. 9:30. Make him value you more. Act by how do you do it? By act what you feel, learn to say no, let him know how you feel, make him work for your attention and satisfaction. Moderate your tolerance. Are these good ways to make a man or woman value someone more? What increases value in a person in a relationship?
I was not going to write all those words. I
was going to say, I didn't know if do you want me to read them?
I think it's best to give them a synopsis and then we break down.
Okay. So here, let me do this.
That would have been a lot.
Let's make them value you more. Act what you feel. It says, remember, if he really loves you, he will not allow you to keep feeling unappreciated, unimportant, and unloved. He will make it up to you. He will make you feel important again. Under learn to say no, it says, if in the past you just agreed to go out when you didn't want to, start refusing. If in the past you went along with something for an easy life, stop doing it. Start pleasing yourself. Under let him know how you feel, it says being able to open up and speak honestly about how you feel and what you need and want from your partner is vital if you're going to make it in the long run. Under make him work for your attention and satisfaction, it says the more that a guy invests in you and works for you, the more that he'll value you. And then under moderate your tolerance, it says if you're too tolerant of the things he does, even if you don't like them, he will think that he's not doing anything wrong at all. Yeah. So again, are these good ways to make a man or woman value someone more? What increases value in a person in a relationship?
So I am thinking because I'm not flat out against it and I'm not flat out for it. I think there is something to be said for these bullet points, because a lot of these are speaking to how women cover a lot of the things that create long-term issues and resentment. It's hard to cover these types of things for extended periods of time. It being flipped to a value you more is kind of where I go. It's not so much that I disagree with it. I'm like, why say it like this? Because
It
it's
feels
not.
manipulative.
Yeah, because that's really not what these things actually attribute to. It's not necessarily him valuing you more. It's you having a value of self enough to communicate clearly with your partner and maturely. Like, these things weren't necessary. I don't see much the acting what you feel. If you're hurt, be hurt. If you're angry, be angry. If you're sad, be sad. If you're happy, be happy within reason of the situation. Communicate those reasons. Learn to say no. If you don't want to do it, say you don't want to do it. So this man don't think he's wowing you and whooping, and this is your favorite thing to do. You love to do this thing, and you hate to do this thing all the time. So later on, he's thinking he's killing it. And no, you hate this thing. I only did this thing because it's you. That's only cute for so long and for certain things. But the guy or the girl should still know that I'm doing this thing for you. Like, don't up and surprise him at the end of the day. I don't like to really do that thing. Say what now? Like,
Right.
don't do that.
Right.
Yeah. Letting them know how you feel. Again, we're grown-ups. Say how you feel about a thing. Be honest. Make them work for your attention and satisfaction. I think everyone likes to know that their person is putting forth some type of effort toward the relationship, and specifically for their happiness, because like, you chose them, you chose me, I chose you. Like, that's like, what else are we talking about? Moderate your tolerance. I also think that yes, we can easily keep those rose-colored glasses on for far too long, just trying to keep peace, not to make no waves. Oh, it's not that big a deal. Those types of things create folks who behave badly with other people too. Like,
Right.
our people have that inside line to us to be able to say, hey, stop doing that. Don't do that no more. That annoys the hell out of people. Don't do that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are our people those are the people that should be the one to pull you to the side and be like, hey, bro, stop that. Hey, that's not working the way you think it is. That ain't like, like, stop, and be able to do that in a way that you get it sinks in, so that you don't go out and make a fool out of yourself and all the people around you, because you don't have no social awareness. So there's a way that you can, and that's not just for like socially embarrassing things, but like even within your house. Like, who really wants to share space with someone that at the root of it, like, you know what I mean? Like, they drive me crazy. Like, that's not cute. That stuff works for sitcoms in 30 to 45-minute increments, including commercials. You know what I mean? Like, that's only entertaining for certain amounts of time, but that does not work in long-term relationships. So, I mean, I think this is just clear grown-up communication. That is my on this one. I'm not a fan of that, making them value you more. Like,
I think it was worded wrong, because when I first read it, I think that's what grabbed my attention, because I was like, I don't think this increases value in a relationship. I think this at best, first of all, if it's manipulative, it's going to always backfire. Manipulation in a relationship always backfires. Let me just throw that out there. Because you're not going to stop, because what's going to happen is it's going to work one time and you're going to keep doing it, and eventually it's the little girl who cried wolf, but eventually you're going to be like, it's going to stop. Not wise to do. But I think that if you are feeling undervalued in a relationship, then the thing to do, or if you're feeling like the person that you're with doesn't value you, then establishing these things will definitely help. But they're things that you should just, to your point, you should just be able to say, hey, listen, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
This doesn't work for me. What I would prefer is this. Or, hey, I know in the past I haven't said anything, about this thing, but this really does bother me, and we need to adjust. Like there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't think that increases value. I think it increases the overall um, uh, the overall relationship. Because I'm not looking going, oh man, she told me I did something wrong today. That I just value her so much more at this. No, that's not how that works at
Mhm.
all. No, and if a person is valued by that, they probably have very low self esteem, because that's just weird. So I just need you to say, hey, this doesn't work for me anymore. I
Mm.
need to adjust. This our relationship was cool doing this, but at this point, we need to switch this up.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. So the second question, what increases value in a relationship? I think it really just has, to me, what increases value for me is number one, understanding how important the role you play in my life is to me. Like, because I think there are times for me where I might not see, like, oh shoot, I didn't realize that this person was that important to said part of my life. Like I might really have appreciated you here, but over here I might not have gotten a full appreciation for you because maybe I didn't know you at that or in that area as well. Or maybe this is something new that we're endeavoring into, and now I get to experience you in a different way. I think to me that discovery part of the relationship is what for me is what increases value. Because now because again I know how I am, I'm very routine. It
Mm.
breaks the monotony of my routine, and it helps me see you and see life through a different lens because I'm now exposed to a different part of you. And that builds intimacy for me because now it's like there's a new depth of you that I have now gained and access and get to appreciate and learn and discover and all of that kind of stuff. So that's for me is how I increase value. One of the ways.
For me, it's safety. I yeah, safety, security, stability is huge for me, but more so not just necessarily from like a very basic like money and that type of thing. That's not so much
Right.
what I'm talking about. Especially at this stage of my life. That's nice, but like I'm okay. I can keep my roof. You know what I mean? Like that's good, but safety from a me perspective. I want to know that as I'm working through something, I can work through it. We can have hard conversations. I can say the stuff and do the things, not saying in an abusive or toxic way. What I'm saying is when my stuff is not all perfect and work together, when it doesn't always align, when I'm hurt and I'm, mad and I'm going through all of my things, like that safety that I got you. And the ability to do that and vice versa, in whatever ways are necessary for my partner adds a lot of value. But safety and that protection for me, if that's the place that I'm able to fully operate in, like that unlocks that level of ease and comfort for all of the other gifts that I have. Like I can rest in that, and that is what allows all of the fun things to click for me. I got to tell you, we'll talk about it offline, but I've got to tell you about this epiphany that I've recently had in my mentoring program. We do these we do these exercises, and we meet once a month, and I'll briefly share this, but I realized that if not for needing to feed and clothe myself, I would be on a completely different path than what I'm on right now. These exercises have shown me so much about like core Q versus get her done Q. You know what I mean? So like those types of, and I think to myself, so when I ask myself these kinds of questions, what increases value in a person in a relationship? For me, the value would be increased if that person added a deep level of safety for me to be able to, I'm good, however I show up today, I'm okay.
Yep, I can see that. I can definitely see that. So Coco said communication is key. However, what if you feel if you feel that way and the other is too comfortable. She said being passive but stern in the 17 relationship are unnecessary, especially with children. To answer your question, she said feel comfortable of continuing doing what they do, as well as communicating what you need or want, but never do it until you say leave. I'm done. So yeah, I mean, I think,
Okay, that
yeah,
helped me understand what she meant. But okay,
yeah,
now, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Then I think you do what you did.
Well, I think yeah, you communicated. You communicate what you need. You communicate the change. You communicate what you need, and then you give the person the opportunity to change. That's kind of all you can do, right? Like, and if a person chooses not to adjust the change, there's really nothing you can do about it because you can't. Which is to this point, you can't force somebody to change.
Right. Yeah.
You can't force it, and you don't want to manipulate them to change because force or manipulation is something you have to maintain. You have to continue to manipulate, continue to force, and that gets old. And then it doesn't get you what you really want, which is for somebody to value you enough to want to um, to do the things that help nurture you
Yep.
and to nurture your relationship.
Thanks.
So that's not what you want. Anything else you got on this?
That was good. Nope.
Uh, oh yeah. Let's see. Trying to see which one. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this one says,
Oh Lord.
"Is it normal for a lady to ask for a monthly allowance from her guy?" Here's what it said. "I've recently started seeing a woman who told me that I have to start giving her monthly allowance. I was shocked because she has a good paying job. What does she need an allowance for? I didn't respond and she got angry. Am I overreacting or is this normal? Is this a new trend I'm unaware of?" So is is this normal behavior, dating behavior? Have you ever been or given an allowance while dating?
Child. I would have got quiet on her too and started getting up. So I can't confirm nor deny this happening because as soon as I say this is not a thing, there will be 15 women who pop out and say, "Oh no, this is a thing." I know that in certain worlds and in certain situations, there are relationships where a woman receives an amount of money on a regular basis for being in the company of and in relationship with whatever you may they determine that relationship to be, and there's money exchanged regularly. Okay, for an allowance says regularly to me, often, scheduled, uh expected is what I hear. Allowances are also usually given for chores performed,
Mhm.
so there's also that. So not saying it doesn't happen. Do I think it's normal? Do I think it's common? Do I think everybody does it at the dating phase? Hell no. We have too many conversations about 50-50 for sisters to be getting allowance. Like, that doesn't make sense. So for certain people, yes, I won't say that it doesn't, but
Yeah,
it is not
it's not
the
normal.
move.
It's,
That's not the wave that that they post about it being.
no, I'm gonna say this. I think that this is wealthy people, a wealthy people thing. If you have money like that, you in that tax bracket, it happens. But I also think everyone that I know who does this, also to your point, understands that it comes with something. Like there is an expectation that if he is giving you an allowance, that there is an expectation that you giving him whatever he needs whenever he needs it. So I know ladies who get, I know two ladies who get a monthly allowance, and they also have access to the man's like credit cards. Like they have individual credit cards that he pays for other expenses. But they also know, dude won't, if his thing is food when he gets home and his clothes done, food when he gets home, clothes done. If it's you need to stay a size two,
size two it is. Mm-hmm.
If he wants to be pleased a certain way, please him. Like they know that, and they're okay with what that exchange is. So, yeah, of all the people I know two.
Right. So I'm like, I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen. Like I know way too many women in way too many types of situations to know that it absolutely happens. But it's not. Out of 10 women, you might find one where they be like, yeah, that's happened. Or, I don't think it's here in these days, it's going to be rare to find 10 out. And of the 10, one of them is going to be like, that's my current life. I think some of it could be like, yeah, I've been there. You know what I mean? I'm thinking if you're in a room and there's sets of 10 different women. Of all of these 10, there's going to be one of them that is in that situation. Because like you said, of all the people you know two. But I'm thinking, if we're just going to be simple numbers here, out of 10, there might be one that's going to be like, yeah, that's my life where I've been there.
You want to hear something funny though? I also know two men who are in the same situation.
Yeah, it happens.
So that's the other interesting part. I know two dudes who are the reverse of this. Like they get an allowance, whatever, but she expects.
Because women are creating the lives that they want as well, and are unapologetic about it. Like I know a lot. I know we know a couple women that is the goal to get to the
absolutely. Oh yeah,
have zero, and they're like, hey, let me get that kind of money. I'm absolutely go buy me one or two of them to do what I need. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's absolutely possible for the fellas too.
Hey.
Not common, but possible. Again. Okay, Coco. Okay.
I'm like, hey, if that's what you want, that's the lifestyle I got nothing for you. I would have been interesting, like to ask this, figure out like what this man does and kind of more about his background.
Yeah, she was bold though. Like the way she set that up, from what I also understand, that ain't how they set that up either.
No.
Just spraying it on your boy on the, on the couch after you want, that's not how that works.
No, this is again, that's what's this like. Are you new to this tax bracket, or is this because usually this comes with that certain thing?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna skip let me go to this one. All right. So
that's the one, the hella long one.
That's why I said let me read it.
Yeah.
Do I have the whole thing? Hold on.
I do if you don't.
It's on your page. Oh, I got it. Okay.
Okay.
Nope, that's the allowance one. Because it's on your page, right?
I tagged you to it, but yes, it is. I can get to it real quick if you want me to.
I got it up.
Let's say I have not been posting nearly as much as you have, so I'm positive that I can get to it fast.
Wow. No, I'm kidding. Here it is. All right. My wife. So, what advice do you have for this man about helping his wife lose weight? Question. It reads: my wife has gained so much weight, I've lost almost all attraction towards her. Let me start off and be clear. I love my wife. She's a great person, and she balances out my heart and nature with her kindness. However, I've lost pretty much all attraction towards her. When we first met, she was never a small gal, and that is completely okay. But she has put on probably 200 pounds or so since we met, and about 140, 150 pounds since we've been married, and it's only been 4.5 years. I stopped initiating intercourse gradually, and I honestly didn't even notice it at first. Not until she broke down and started asking if I was cheating because we hadn't been deeply intimate for 2 to 3 weeks. Then I was thinking, wow, she's right. So I started paying more attention and I really just started noticing why. The come to Jesus moment was when I was getting out of the shower and her stomach was flopped over her pelvic area and her boobs were just resting on her extended stomach. I was just thinking, whoa, I have zero interest in my own wife's body. She knows she is overweight. We bought an exercise bike and got her on a new regimen, but she quit after maybe 3 weeks. I told her how I was feeling and that it's having a direct effect on my physical attraction. That was an incredibly hard conversation to have. I'm not a particularly emotional person, and we both cried during that convo. And for her to just quit casually makes me think she doesn't care about the relationship anymore. I've tried encouragement, but ultimately we've fallen back into the sexless marriage routine. She wants kids, and honestly, I can't barely maintain an erection during sex, let alone orgasm. I have to pretend I've ejaculated so she is content and doesn't have an emotional breakdown. I know that is a little bit of enabling, but it seems like that is something I could never tell her. I'm starting to feel like I'm doomed to either be one of those stupid revenge weight loss divorce stories, or even worse, if we don't make it, she eats herself to death. But I no longer want children with a mother that I can't even go on a hike or do the most mundane physical activities with without an excuse. A what's eating Gilbert grape isn't the life I want for my future kids. In a rare instance in my life, I have absolutely no idea what to do. Any idea how to broach this subject again with a more successful narrative? No, my wife and me are the same age, 29, and my looks are normal. I look fit. What advice do you have for this man about helping his wife lose weight?
Mm. This one was hard to read because you could tell that this man really wants to figure this out. I didn't get what I've gotten in the past from stories similar to this, from this particular breakdown. I think it's more than just her weight,
Hmm.
personally.
For her.
For her, yes. I think that we are talking 350 or 60 pounds based on the numbers that he gave, 200 while they were dating, and an additional 150 or so after they got married. That's a considerable amount of weight over
4.5 years.
4.5 years. Something has happened that has triggered this. Like, he didn't mention it. However, he also mentioned that he's not really an emotional person. And he mentioned that in the realm of tears, but like, that could mean a lot of things. He might not be too tapped into some other things that could have been going on, or it may not have seemed like it shook her the way that it did. But there's something that's going on that, in my opinion, has triggered that, or it could be a health issue. There's something else, because she did initiate, like she tried with the bike and the changing of the regimen for 3 weeks. We all know exercise, diets, that stuff is hard to get disciplined in the first place. So I would, I don't know if he mentioned like they've done any of that together. But my first thing, before we talk about a gym, before we talk about any numbers, as far as any of that is concerned, how are you, baby? How are you? What's going on? Talk to your wife and see what's up. See if she needs to talk to somebody else. It might not be you that she could talk to, but offer to set her up to talk to somebody. Something is going on, but I would not lead with weight in their conversation. That to me feels like the effect of something.
Yeah, it's the manifestation of whatever internally has happened to her. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I give him kudos for how thoughtful he was and has been in this situation, and then even in the way that he went about expressing it in this was honest. I get it. Like, I get it. As a woman, I get it. As a person, as a human who has attraction to other humans, I understand. He said she wasn't thin to begin with. So to add an additional 200 and then 150 to the already not thinnest in the first place. That's a lot to adjust to. And to now want children. If he loves her, he's got to think about her health. She can't have children at that way, like healthily. That's not going to be safe for her or those babies, you know. So there's definitely a different conversation that needs to be had. But I think the weight should come much later in that conversation.
Yeah. So, okay. I picked up a teach
Mm-hmm.
of arrogance from him,
Okay.
which made me question not so much the genuineness of care for her, but how he's approaching this whole scenario. Like, if this is a serious struggle for her, and you know it is, and then and I'm assuming making an assumption here that the things that he said are all the things that he's done.
Okay.
Then having the conversation about mental health, about what's going on with you outside of the weight should have been had. But if there is a level of arrogance here, your assumption is that it's just not enough willpower. You just need more willpower. And if you have more willpower, then you're gonna, instead of like having the ability to back up and say there is something bigger than this, that's than weight that's happening here that I need to address. So, and again, I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm just saying based upon what he shared, if this is all that's happened, mental health, having other friends participate in this conversation, looking at maybe her history, like her family history, and seeing, are there anything there? Is there a eating disorder happening? Like, those things have to be processed through or eliminated as well. And I just didn't see that.
What about what he said gave you that small air of arrogance? Just out of curiosity.
It was really one line. He said, it was the line at the end.
The was eating Gilbert Grape?
No, it was I want to say it's like the next to last sentence. I was like, okay. It was, in the rare instance in my life, I have absolutely no idea what to do.
I think that's because he bared a lot. I don't usually share my stuff like this. I usually don't need this kind of help, but I need some help now. Like, I've tried my stuff and I need some help. That's what I heard.
But that's, to me, that's a tad bit arrogant. Like, we all have this. Like, we all have moments where that wasn't necessary, and that could have even been just a deflection. So I mean, I just said that, to me, could have been what that is, and I would have wanted to know more.
Gotcha.
And that's me being picky. Let me just say that's me being picky.
I was just interested. No, you good.
Yeah. So I think that there's, like, you don't know what to do, and that's fine. So I do appreciate him for coming to ask the question, but yeah, I think, now, to help him, what I would tell him again, start with those things that you said earlier. But ask those questions. Look, watch some of the stuff you don't even have to ask. Some of the stuff you can just watch. What was happening when she started gaining the weight? How is she gaining the weight? Is she just sitting eating all day? Is there emotional things happening that's triggering her? And she's emotionally eating? Is she bulimic? Like, there's a lot of, there's a bulimic or any other type of eating disorders that are happening that need to be addressed. Like, I would say, do some of that, and then ultimately, like I said, give her some help.
Yep.
Some medical attention. Like, let's go to counseling. Let's go to counseling so we can talk about this with a counselor, and in that process of that, bring this up so that way you can have a third party who you are leading into saying, hey, ask about this thing. So somebody else can help ask the questions that you might not be able
It's got to get addressed for her health's sake. It's got to get addressed.
150 pounds in 4.5 years is a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a whole lot. So, but sis does need some. We gotta. We gotta.
Say it again.
We'd have to do something quickly with sis.
Yeah. That's a lot. She's got to talk. We got to get some conversation happening ASAP.
Is her mental health his concern after he is her mental health his concern after he told her they are married is for better or for worse. Wait ends all very taboo. I don't know if it ends all, but it can.
I think it can.
It can.
If there's no effort made to resolve it, because you, even if she wasn't the size that she is now, she wasn't that. I mean, what am I trying to say? That wasn't the size that he married her at. Like, we all are visual people. We are all visual people, and yes, we change and our bodies adjust and all that, and that's good and true. But I think over time, a person's overall attract to be able to keep the rest of those vows in certain ways, your person has to also check those boxes. So I think weight is something that we have to be willing to add to that list.
Yeah. And I think it's also the way that he is internalizing it that is really the thing that could lead to this. He said, I'm internalizing this, that she doesn't care about me and she doesn't care about our relationship.
Yeah.
He is now internalizing this and making this problem a reflection of how she sees him and how she cares for them.
Yep.
And so that ultimately, when you get to a point where you feel like your partner does not care about you and doesn't care to do the things that are necessary to make the relationship well, just like in the previous thing we were talking about, the previous you want out.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to be there forever because nobody wants to be in a relationship where they don't feel valued.
Because that kids and all of that, there's a potential that he could become a widow in the efforts of just creating a family. And I mean, and that could happen in any situation, but that's exacerbating that possibility. So I could see where that over time, how that could become internalized, especially in the planning stages of a new marriage. So yeah, if after we try and get to the bottom of this thing, if we ain't got to the bottom, like if we still haven't figured this out, I can see how over time it's like, okay, now, okay now. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's rough. It's a tough thing to say, but
yeah. Absolutely. All right. Can you see this?
Yes, I can see the screen with the YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we got it fixed.
Hey Sugars, have you heard about the Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm from Elegance by Design? The days of braids being weighed down by heavy products that don't hold are over. Blocked and Beautiful Braid Balm is perfect for box braids, updos, and the most intricate of braid styles. Let your creative juices flow, knowing Elegance by Design has your braids on lock. Order yours now at elegancebydesign.com.
Also available at the Back to My Roots Exchange.
Did it play?
Yes, it played.
See, I didn't see. Oh, now that time it didn't play for me.
Oh wow, yeah, it played for us. You would have heard me. When, bro? No.
That's why I didn't stop it, because
I would have cut in.
I look at your face like, all right, she ain't saying nothing, so it must be going. Let me leave it alone.
We good.
All right. So this one came up last week, right? We didn't get to this one last week. So I promised that we would do it this week because clearly this sent everybody in.
It was, yeah, this one was very interesting to me.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't see all that, but okay, we're gonna talk through this. And I was told to be ready to take getting in trouble for this. But I said, all right, let's see.
I think we had a way to simmer down. We'd be all right.
Listen, as long as you can, this ain't and Shaquita ain't on here, we all right. So.
Oh no, we're good. We're good. It's not showing up on the screen.
You can't see it?
No.
Look at God.
It is made on the same template that everybody else is made on. So everybody else played. Why this one won't play beyond me, but I got it.
Well, you know what's interesting though? All of the new ones that were loaded today are the ones that we could see. It's like the ones from, the ones that we normally do are the ones that we can't. Hold on, I can put it back in here. Give me just a second.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, y'all was on it about this one.
Yeah, well, honestly, it wasn't even a whole lot that needed to be said. It's just we were all three. I think the three of us just kind of said the same thing. Like, okay,
but y'all, not being funny, the three of y'all agreeing is not a normal thing. So,
hey,
which is why
it really isn't. Yeah, actually, not all three of us at the same in complete alignment. Like, yeah.
But that's why, to me, I'm like, I definitely need to have this conversation because that doesn't happen. Can you see it now?
Yep, we can see it now.
All right, so here it is.
All right, y'all. So this one here had the internet's ablazing for a couple days about a week ago. So we're going to bring it back just so we can kind of get it all out here and have this conversation. So this is how we go. All right. You won't have to ask a man that really loves you for anything. Not a date night, money, time, damn sure not affection. When a man really desires you, he moves different for you on his own. It actually makes him happy to do the most for you. Is this an unrealistic perspective for women to have? Should the need for these things to be communicated? Should the need for these things be communicated, or are they the basics? So, yeah. When I was about to. What are your thoughts on this? What were because I know what your thoughts were, but I want you to tell the people what your thoughts were on this topic.
So here is what I said, and here was my thoughts. My thoughts are, I disagreed that you won't have to tell a man that really loves you these things. My disagreement is because I think that men, just like women, get distracted, get busy, get focused on other things, and at times need to be, hey, you're not right now. I know you working. I can use myself. I know you are trying to get this business up and going. I know you also have this church that you are now passing. I know you have this. I need some more quality time. I think that is, depending on the type of person you have, can be a normal thing. And B, when I say normal, not meaning that you have to do it on a regular basis, but that's something that you have to do. And I don't think that is a sign or an indication that he does not really love you. I think it means that he is in the moment lost focused. I think in the moment he's distracted or trying to do other things and putting so much energy into this that either he's not doing the other things, or he's not doing enough of the other things, or he's thinking that by him doing these things, it is helping the family, helping you. And so therefore I'm cool, but that's not what you need. So to say, hey, I need something else. I don't think that says he don't love you. I think it says he needs you to just correct it. Mm. I also think, and if we flipped it, I don't see this any different than a woman having a whole bunch of things that she's got going on. She's taking care of children, she's working her job, she's doing all of the stuff she's doing, and a man going, hey, I need some quality time. I need some me time. Right now, I don't feel like I'm important or valued in your life, and I need you to make more room or space for me in these ways.
Right.
I think that's normal. And I don't think that means she doesn't love you. I think that means that she's got other things that right now are consuming more of her time and her energy, and she just don't have it to give, or she just needs to figure out a way to negotiate her days and her schedule better, or to say, okay, I can give you this, but I need you to take off some of this so I can still have space to do that. That was my thought, and why I was like,
Yeah. You came at this from in the midst of a fully functioning, like a relationship
yes.
in progress.
Yes.
I read this and thought about this from a dating to new marriage, gaining understanding perspective. And I think, and from that round, that is, these are basics. These are not hard. These are not extra or extravagant asks for someone who is showing romantic interest in a person. I agree with you that throughout the ebbs and flows of relationships, that both people can be distracted at certain times, and there are points where these things may not be at higher priority than others.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think that there are ever things that a person should have to continuously remind a person of, or introduce as first things, like this is new, and oh, you want that too? Like, it's one of those types of things that I think that was what I was getting from the comments when I was reading it. So I think some people may have taken it the way you took it, and then other people were like, yeah, you're gonna have to tell me, like, we don't know, like, you have to line item every bit of piece of what this relationship is going to look like, and these things don't count as auto. You know what I mean? And I thought, what? That did not compute to me. So I found Shaquita's comment, because again, this has been a week ago we were having this conversation, so I wanted to refresh my brain as far as what we said. But the comment was, I don't expect anyone to be a mind reader, but as an adult, you can't possibly tell me that some of you actually expect to have a healthy, long-lasting relationship with a person that you don't talk to, don't spend time with, and don't show affection to. Can you have a relationship? Of course. Will it be healthy? I seriously doubt it. This is what I mean by common sense. Exactly how do you expect something to grow without nurturing it? Surely you don't expect to get something out when you aren't putting anything in. I believe that mindset is more unrealistic than feeling like someone who is pursuing a relationship should know and expect to have to do this. And I responded, I agree. How we go about attaining these experiences in our relationships can definitely depend on how we communicate. You got to let your person know that you like these things. But to say that having an expectation of the things listed here is toxic and unrealistic from a romantic relationship perspective is a reach for me, because you chose this person. You know what I mean? It's easy to forget your coworker's birthday. It's easy to forget your little cousin's birthday, or, something special. These things are people that are given to you that you have to interact with, all those types of things. This is a person that you have gone out of your way to make space for in your life. So to say time, affection, those types of things, as far as a relationship is concerned, I think even when you get distracted, like at the come around, like, why aren't you missing them? In a way, like, that's the type of thing that makes me wonder, like, yeah, you're distracted, but at the end of the day, don't you miss those things? How are these things so unrealistic in the realm of romantic relationships, or to expect them? Because why don't you need them? You know what I mean? So say it's realistic for your partner to expect them, I'm almost like, well, why don't you miss them? You know what I mean? I'm like, how is it? Why is that not a need if this is your person?
Yeah. So I think to answer that question, I would say that over the long period of time in your relationship, that's true. I think where I see this happen more is in shorter periods of time where where something is happening, and for that period of time I might need it, but this other thing that I need is taking priority.
Mhm.
So I'll use myself for example. The last like 2 months, I was in like I gotta grind, I gotta make this money because because we were in transition,
Right.
and so most of my nights were driving Uber.
Mhm.
So I'm leaving at 10 o'clock at night, driving till sometimes 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, getting back up, doing what I got to do for for Trey and them, and then during the day, and then so that leaves no time to
For all
be
the other stuff.
for
Yeah.
all the other stuff. Did I need it? Absolutely. Did I want it? Absolutely. But in the moment, I got to fix this because I got to keep these lights on. So outside of everything else, got to wait.
Mhm.
And I think so. I think when I see it more in that type of context because you do need it and you do recognize it's missing and you do want it, but you also need some space to do it. And the thing that you have to do is you have to communicate that. Like you have to do it communicating, hey, this is where I am. This is not me not wanting to do those things. And I recognize that you do need those. But right now, I got to go do this. And this is taking all of the energy that I have and or how can we do this different so you still get some of this, but maybe not at the volume that you want?
Yep.
Because I can't give it all to you and still be able to go and do this.
That was going to be my follow up.
Yeah.
Then are we communicating that that's the zone that we're in, so that person doesn't feel lost in the sauce
Right.
and all of those other things? So
Yeah. And often, I guess for me, I don't sometimes. I don't sometimes because sometimes I could for me I don't recognize I'm in it always.
Mhm.
Because for me, it's like I can do everything until I can't, and then it's like, oh shoot, I thought I was holding that down. It's like no,
Right.
no,
Right.
that's not what I needed.
And I
So
think this was one of those that was easy to get caught up in the misinterpretation or the interpretation of the words.
Mhm.
Because if you were looking at this from a very basic perspective, a man that you have to convince that these things are necessary for a relationship is probably a man that does not love you or does not desire to be in relationship really with you. Now, a man who is in agreement that these things should be taking place, however, has a similar situation as what you proposed, or this is not. I'm very willing to even acknowledge those people where romantic is not their first, or these things are not their go-to, their
Mhm.
natural way of showing up and expressing love. Like that
Mhm.
makes sense, but being willing to communicate and see that there is a different level of engagement necessary for the person that you're being in relationship, aside from just we only having sex with each other,
Mhm.
is important, because
Mhm.
that is a lot of what we have showing up in our conversations about relationships these
Mhm.
days, where the very basic, like the idea of there being basics is no more. Even like you have to literally show up with your user manual of the things that you like down. It takes all of the spontaneity and excitement out of figuring each other out and seeing
Mhm.
where this goes, because it's gotten so granular of you didn't say that's what you wanted, you got to tell me that's what you wanted, you need to do those things. And good night, sis.
Okay, perfect.
um, so and those are the conversations that make me go, wait, what? And make me say, this is where you have to start to clarify, no, these are the very basics, because there is a discussion being had about the very granular things needing to be displayed. And to me, that makes me wonder, like, well, what separates your spouse or your significant other from everyone else? If you're expecting and engaging with them in the same way, there's nothing special about them any different than all the other people that you engage. What do you do for them, or what thoughts are you having about them that are different and apart and more special than all the other people that you engage with? You know what I mean?
Sure. So let me first say, I think the word convince is the word that makes me say I absolutely agree. I'm not convincing. Oh, yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I think that that's something that you have to define, because there definitely should be, a deeper level of intimacy, transparency, and things like that happen with the person who you're doing life with, as opposed to everybody else. A different level of affection, a different level, a greater desire. But I also recognize that those things also come as a result of an environment that makes those things something that is what's the word I want to use? That's something that's welcomed. That like you said earlier, to your point, that there's a level of safety there that allows those things to be. Okay. So if we're in a relationship where it's antagonistic, or it's always arguing, unless that's your thing, then that doesn't. Some people, that's their thing. Then these things are not necessarily the things that would happen or would flow out of more naturally. And the idea of you wanting to have deeper intimacy, greater affection, is not something you're going to desire as much, because
that's not your thing. That's y'all go operate from the soft place.
Right. Or the environment, we do, but the environment isn't soft.
Got you. Okay.
So we're always arguing. So now I can't do that with you, because now I don't trust you. I don't trust that there's that level of safety, intimacy, depth that's there. So now I'm going to turn to someplace else that I can get that from. So I think that's what I typically see when that's not happening. So the question then becomes, like to Shaquira's point, how do you maintain a relationship with these types of things? You don't, not in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And you just get a bunch of trauma back and forth of hurting each other, and or one person making a demand and the other person stonewalling, and the other person making a demand and you gaslighting, and now we're back in this confrontational stance of, until you give me what I need, I'm not going to give you what you need. And then we slowly start to deteriorate. Like, it happens. But I think to the point, it does make a man who cares about you and who feels valued, absolutely, it makes him happy to do the most for you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because there is, when a person loves you, there is no greater joy than to see you joyful. So to see you happy. So but if your happiness consistently comes at the expense of my happiness, now we have a problem. But if I feel valued, I love you, and I feel valued in this relationship, then absolutely, my creativity is a whole lot better when I know when we're in a good space.
Yep, I agree with that. I think that's why, like, I this one was hard for me to be like, I didn't find any issue with this.
Yeah.
Because I was reading, I was thinking, like.
Yeah, and again, understanding the differences in context. And as I understood when I read y'all context, I'm like, I know what they're saying.
Yeah.
But I need to add this perspective to it, because, and also, if we're talking about a new relationship, first of all, if we're talking about a new relationship, why you asking me for money? I was like, I don't know about asking me for money. I don't know about that one. But date nights, time, affection, I'm with that. But I don't know about paying your bills if we just dating. I'm giving you money.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
So, again, we had the earlier topic where we were talking about allowances and things too. So
I'm not in that tax bracket.
right. So, stranger things have happened. But there are some men that even in our tax bracket who talk about they don't mind doing, money is not money is not the thing for all of us. The
True.
same thing for everyone. For some men that is their role, even in a dating phase. After a certain amount of time, they are perfectly fine with, I wish you would like go without something. Let me find out you didn't, have what you needed and you didn't say nothing. Like that's a thing. And more power to those men. Not mad at those men at all. But
I mean,
so
I feel like
that
that now. So I mean, I get that.
Yeah. So the whole, I think this was the whole ask part was that, the whole, I shouldn't have to ask you, for those types of things. If I am the woman in your life and you are the man in my life and we are, and y'all also know how I feel about that whole girlfriend thing, wife thing. I think if you are dating seriously, once you determine that this person is who you're exclusively dating with the goal of marriage, those two types of things begin to shift. Now you are in a phase of tryout, so to speak. So you start to dibble and dabble in the girly wifey type of thing. You go from girly wife, you start to teeter-totter onto those sides of things and vice versa. So depends on where you are in that realm. But when we're talking about love, also, I'm thinking we're not necessarily newbies at this.
Right.
But the dude who's super digging you even at the early stages is gonna do the absolute, he gonna push that thing to the limit within the realms of where y'all are time wise, because he wants to get to that next level and he loves doing it. Like, you know what I mean? That's to the end part of this. Like there's a joy that comes in hitting those levels for you.
But I think it comes back to it comes to what you have. Like even to your point, like there's nothing that if I have at this level, Jamie can't ask me for it. I'm not going
to. Yeah. No, always. Yeah.
I think this, but it comes to I think, like I said, it's just if we just started dating, like that's where from the context of where you are. If we just started like 2 months in, a month in, and you like, hey, I can't pay my light bill. Can you?
No, don't do
even
that.
If I am, I might be like, that's kind of early for that.
Yeah, that is early. That is early.
It's kind of early. So, yeah, context matters. Context does matter.
If you in 2 months telling me you love me, I'm side-eyeing you heavy. So, and I'm a pretty dope chick. Like, I'm a lovable dope type chick. But if you a man that's dating me and in 2 months you're talking I love you type stuff, I'm going to be like, homie, I'm going to need you to chill. Like, pump your brakes. This is chill out. Yeah. What does it that mean, Medina? But you don't even know me. Like, it's one of those, you don't even know me. In 2 months, that is not enough time for you to know that you love me.
Yeah. let me ask this to your second question. You said it says, should the need for these things be communicated or are they basic? So my question is, let's just a new relationship. Guy is doing a lot of things that lets you know he's feeling you.
Yeah.
He's consistent. He's talking, consistent with text talks, like getting to know you really well. But date nights are sporadic or affection is, not where on the level of where you want it. Is this something that you look at the person should look at the full picture and say, okay, he's doing the things here that say that, but over here, these things kind of make me, he's not doing these things. He's not doing, like I said, as many date nights. His affection ain't up to point. but he's showing, but in other ways showing me that he really likes me and desires me.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you respond to that?
You need to open your mouth. You need to communicate that you need more of XYZ things. I don't think stating a preference of like your personal preference for is a bad thing. That is healthy. You should. Every person is different. Every woman is different. Every man is different. What they like, the types of date nights, the frequency. Sometimes they just want to chill. Maybe they live a high strung life, and my idea of a date night is literal, like chilling. I don't want to do all this. I don't. If it involves makeup and heels, I don't want to go. You know what I mean? Like there are some women who feel that way. So having those types of communication are absolutely important, especially in the get to know you phase. That is the responsibility of the person being dated or dating. Like if you're in the relationship, it is your responsibility to share that. If she says she needs dates, if it's 4 weekends out of a month and she needs to be out 2 of them weekends with you, hanging out, doing something intentional that she did not have any part in planning, that's all you, player. 2 out of the 4. Okay. He then needs to counter with that. Okay. So I can do 1 and we talk about the second, and that means I can guarantee I'm with you. I can't always guarantee you I get 2, but if we can plan that second one so it's flexible and it's something that we can do together, that's good. How's that work? Okay, cool. That answers a whole lot of different questions. He knows that she needs that time with him for a good chunk of those weekends. I plan to spend this amount of time with you in our downtime. She now also knows, okay, he needs a little help when it comes to 1, maybe prioritizing some time, or he might have a lot going on and I might need to be flexible on week 2 so that he can also take care of some other things because he's got a lot going on in his life. We're new at this. I haven't fully figured out what his life does on weekends 3 and 4 and maybe 2.5. You know what I mean? So those are the kinds of conversations that I think at the beginning absolutely need to happen so that you don't spend a lot of time, money, energy, heartache, frustration, and all of this back and forth when you could just make your thing very plain. You know what I mean? I like to dress up a whole lot. I like to dress up a lot of the times, but I don't want to do that every day. That's not my idea of doing something. You know what I mean? Like I prefer more intentional, thoughtful. You heard me talk about this thing. Let's go swing by there and do that. Like those are the types of things. I don't really like a lot of people like that. And if you know me, you gotta dig that about me. You realize that people drain the hell out of me. So like if you are trying to do an all-day thing, like minimal people for me, please. You know what I mean? So like those are things you can figure out and knowing and in talking to each other.
Here's why I asked that question. Because when we say something is basic, the way that we have started to do that is we've said that this is something, we've translated that into saying this is something people should know and I shouldn't have to communicate about this. And so if they're not checking off those boxes, then I am automatically assuming he don't care about me. She don't care about me if she's not doing these things. And I think what winds up, what we do in the process is we don't give people the opportunity to go through the process that you did to really self-discover all of the good things that can be self-discovered in that conversation that you just gave. Because not only do you realize you don't know a lot of stuff about this person's life, but you realize how they process. You realize how well they do communicate. It's like a lot of things. Like, is he really willing to, doesn't want to spend time with me, or is he, got these other commitments, and is he able to say, hey, I can't do that. Like you said, that second weekend, half the day, because I have this commitment, but this commitment ends here. And after that, I can make some, can he do that? And vice versa. If it was can she communicate why this need is so valuable? So maybe you can, if one of your commitments is not really that big of a commitment, you can make some adjustments. So it helps you see because long term, that's a skill that's
Yeah,
going to be super important in your relationship. So,
for
can
sure.
is he willing to do this? Is she willing to do that? Is he willing to communicate? Can he communicate? What's his? Does he flip out because I say I have a need?
Right.
Yeah. Does she go off instead of being able to say, hey, this is where I am? It's like, where's her emotional maturity at? So it's a whole bunch of stuff in there that just by saying this is basic, you should know, and if you don't do it, I'm just gonna move on. That I think that when we do that, we miss out on some really
Oh
neat
yeah.
discovery.
I think the clarity in your question for me is this. Basics are ABC is needed to make this thing happen. Details are I need 2 of these, 1 of those, and 4 of those. So
Mhm.
basics are in a relationship, dates, some hugs and kisses, some time,
Absolutely. Yeah.
one-on-one. Those types of things are the basics.
Sure.
For from a, everyone's got their individual thing, but from a general perspective of how our society is run, those things are pretty much the just add
Universal.
water of a relationship.
Universal. Yeah.
Yes. Now, how much, what kind, how often, who does what and in what capacity and all of that are the details. Those things are what should be communicated. But there are folks, and I saw men and women alike, that are arguing that dates and hugs and specific time
That's a
are
different level.
things that need to be said. Yeah, I like dates.
Yeah.
Me,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be damned. I'll be damned if I am secluding time away from other human beings with a one solo human being, and I have to
You got all
say
the time.
in specificity that I like for you to engage with me intimately solo on an endeavor to have an entertaining time with, please, sir. I wish the hell I would. My mama will come through every
Yeah, absolutely. She absolutely.
every way.
That's what I.
Girl,
That's
no.
what I.
So I mean, so to me, that's what I'm like. No, those are basics, and I have no understanding for the folks in here going back at our big ages talking about everybody don't like hugs and dates from their person. Now you might not like hugs from everybody, but your boo, you're gonna want him to reach around and put his arm around just somewhere. Okay, like I'm sorry, I'm not. And if that's you, then keep that to yourself. Don't put that out there like that's everybody's prescription. It's not. You know what I mean? You, ma'am or sir, are in the minority. Like, do not take that show on the road.
I dated someone who was like, I don't really like being hugged. I was like, really? Who hurt you? Who hugged you? Like, I mean, it's reality, but it's like it was very weird to hear somebody say that, and I was like, oh,
yeah. And I mean, those are things that I'm not discounting that they exist.
Yeah,
but
and I'm
I
not
also
disagreeing
think
with
that's
you.
something
I'm not
that
disagreeing with you.
you would communicate that. That's not something that your partner would just know or assume that you don't like hugs. The average person is gonna hug you if I'm gonna at least give you a hug. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So that you would want to. That's a detail. And I have known some folks who have been totally hug averse, totally contact averse, pre-pandemic, pre-monkeypox, pre all of the things when we was dapping and hugging and to everybody all the time, and they were like, "Don't, what's up?" You know, they would hit you with that good in a heartbeat. But then they found that person.
They're saying it's completely switches.
That hard eyes that gets them all.
Completely switches. Yeah.
Oh, locked in arms. They in the same pant leg together.
Absolutely.
That's just how most that.
Listen, I've seen that too. So
yes. So for your person,
absolutely.
yes.
Yep, I've experienced that firsthand.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness! I was watching a show this past week. I was binging something. I can't remember what it was. And the woman was like, "I want to be when you're with. I want to be in your skin." And I thought, okay, I get it. But don't tell me that. Don't tell me you want to be in my skin. I instantly think I need space. Like, do not tell me I love this. I want to be in your skin. That's what men run. I thought that's why they be saying we're doing too much right there. Where they how I want to be in your skin. I was thinking, don't be in my skin. Don't tell me that.
Yeah,
You can want to be a lot of things, but don't tell me.
You could be up under me, but I don't know if I'm my skin. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you see the video of that where the lady, she's the cartoon is saying, "I want to be in your skin." The man is laying there, and she like pulls up his shirt and gets in his shirt.
No.
To, like that, he's in the bed sleeping. She's like, instead of just spooning with him, she gets in, pulls his shirt, like gets up under his shirt, and lays in his shirt with him. So then then he rolls over, and she like is in his shirt. So I'm like, that's too much.
That's too much. Now, I can't say that if you're laying there on the bed and you're watching TV or something, like I won't come cuddle up with you or whatever, or even do like what she just did, like to be funny, but I'm coming from up under your shirt. Like, I'm not going to be like, I might be cute and, I'm going to crawl up and you and thing and come from up under your shirt and then, we can roll, but I'm not going to like stay literally in your shirt. I'm not
Who's in the shirt? I was like, that's just not too. That's too much.
After I've seen toddlers be forced to wear big T-shirts to hug together as punishment, that does not sound like sexy to me. Like, y'all, you remember the Hug Me shirt, to Get Along, we gonna get along shirts, where the parents put the toddlers and the school age kids in the shirts together to hug because you get along and be that translation just won't cross over for me.
That's too much, but no.
It is, but that's the visual I get for that. Like, that seems like punishment. I don't want
to. When I see it again, I will send it to you because I was like, yeah, that was weird to me.
That's very weird. I can't co-sign that.
I need you to move over. I'm hot.
Yes. I desire a very high level of intimacy, but not that high. That's even a bit much for me. And I am a touchy-feely hugger person. So,
get off.
Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts. Let's go. Good show.
This was a good show. And I'm glad that we got a chance to chat about quite a few of these topics, actually. We talked about valuing each other and ourselves, our relationships. We talked about communication this evening. We talked about, like, if anything, not even with just this show, if anything, we have learned that there is so much more to be had as far as critical thinking is concerned and context as it relates to our relationships.
Yes.
Each individual, whether they be in the relationship or observing the relationship, is attaching their own perspectives and concepts to what they think things should be. And I think there is something to be had for conversation and finding common ground in the things that we experience, because it can often provide a level of safety and awareness that pulls us and keeps us grounded. As we can often create space for us to do some really stupid things and make some unwise decisions based on this is the only time, no one has ever, this is I'm only on, I gotta go do a new thing. No, sometimes sharing these experiences and having these conversations create the space for us to not always engage as in I'm going to share, but to see what others have experienced and how they worked through and find that, okay. So I wasn't, that wasn't so bad. I mean, I was tripping, but I'm not tripping. You know what I mean? To be able to find that space to come back and say, okay, so there is a solution for that. I didn't know it, but other people have found the solution, and I know that there could be one out there, and that there is a different way to do things. So having that different level of willingness to see, to dig, to get outside of our bubbles and our access and see what others have been able to engage in and grow from can save us, can prepare us, can make it so that we're more rich in our experiences
Mhm.
because we can save ourselves from a lot. You know what I mean? Or it could be that motivation for us to dig in a little deeper.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I love that we have these kinds of conversations and we all can come, oh, I didn't think about that. Because we didn't really
Mhm.
talk about like the topic where you were telling me, Shaquita and Candace, you get like we didn't really go into depth of it. We didn't have an inbox sidebar conversation about that. But I
Mhm.
shared that I agree. You're like, okay. And now hearing, what you said and then what I said, I was like, I found understanding
Right.
in what you were saying from a different level of context as opposed to the one that I provided. And we
Mhm.
both we picked
We
it
both
through,
agree.
found some
Yeah.
ways. Yeah. And then there were some things we were like, I get it, but I may not take that to the bank in the same way that you do. But I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? And I think that is the beauty in what we do and why
Absolutely.
these conversations do still have value. They get
Yeah.
monotonous and they get draining, but when you find those different layers,
Yeah.
that's
I think what it also does is it gives a good indication of how, like, because we don't always agree.
no.
So it's like, but at the same time, I can there is a very healthy level of respect for the other's opinion.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like I look to see, okay, so what I'm missing? What am I not seeing? Show me that. And I think when you're in whether it's friendship, whether it's co-hosting a show, whether it's your wife, your husband, even your work
Yep.
relationship, like those are the types of ways that you have to approach those conversations. So again, even when you don't agree, that extra added value is there, because to even see somebody else's context expands you as a human,
Yes.
and now you have greater capacity maybe for that conversation, as well as applying that same context to other conversations, to like, oh well, if in this area they think like this, I wonder if over here they think the same thing, and maybe that's why they do that. So you expand your mercy, you have a whole lot more mercy towards people, and a lot more humility,
Yes.
because you realize that the world is bigger than your opinion and your perspective. So
Yep.
uh,
It's funny that you mentioned that part right there as far as not always agreeing, but can have that understanding is essentially what advocacy is. You know what I mean? And not always having a story, but being able to understand a story is more important sometimes than even the sharing of that story in real time.
mhm.
My not having a personal experience with something, but me having shared an experience with someone else, meaning they were able to share their perspective and I gain an understanding from it on a different level, can now better prepare me to speak about, not from a perspective of I'm a pro or this is my experience, but if I'm overhearing someone misinterpret what this thing is or how this experience has gone,
Mhm.
and I've been able to have a real world account from someone who's walked that walk, talk that talk,
Mhm.
and understand that ain't really what. No, that's not what they.
Right, right. That's not what they meant.
And now I have an
Yes,
opportunity
yes,
detached from the emotion of it
yes,
being my
yes,
personal
yes,
story. I
yes,
can logically, soundly, with a
yes.
clear mind, body, and soul. No,
That's not it.
that's not that's not it. And that creates the space for that less for no it's less confrontation and more understanding again to take place. Because we originally want to, oh well, that's not, oh my bad. No, baby, no, no, no. Before you do that,
Mhm.
no. I just happen to know, I know a guy or
Yeah,
I know a girl,
yeah.
and this is what their actual
Yep,
experience is.
yep. Happen,
And
happen
then
all the time.
your trust, your clout in that space offers a voice for someone who would have never possibly been invited in that room.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
that's the advocacy, not from always from a DEI or from a black, white, man, woman, from a human to human perspective. I've had conversations with different women who've had experiences that I've never had, but I'm able to speak to them. I've had conversations with men that have obviously have had experiences I've never had. But I can be in a room full of women and say, sis, that's not really what they're saying now. That ain't what they said. That's not what he said. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I've been able to have those conversations, and in a room full of women, I can have another type of conversation because I've code switched into a new space that allows me some different authority here. So I can teach different, I can speak different, and therefore we can move different. Whereas there's no combat happening here. Whereas if this was a man coming into that room saying, "Oh no, sis, that ain't what we said," well, how you know? So like there's power in sharing our experiences and actually getting our messages to the other side. We can't shut out the other side, or we're never gonna get back to the middle. Like, we won't go back to the middle. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. All right. Good show. Good show. Yeah, I ain't got nothing. I don't have anything. I'm tired. I'm gonna be sleeping 4 minutes.
Right.
My first meeting was at 5:45 this morning. I'm tired. So
I was up at 4, but I wasn't meeting nobody at 5:45. I think you got me, bro. I
love my job. So
I'm going to bed. I get up that early, so I can't meet people at like normal working hours.
So on that note, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Good show, good conversation. I think we are. Thanks, Mike. We are helping. We are helping people have healthier relationships.
I hope so. I think so too. I hope so.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Good night. I appreciate you, Q. Appreciate you all. Hit the share button if you haven't. Go to SoundCloud, share that if you haven't already. We'll be back next week. Another good show. Another good show next week.
Thank y'all.
See y'all later.